Warning. This episode contains strong language, graphic depictions of violence and death that may be disturbing for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, true crime freaks and geeks. This is Shelley.
My name is Brandon.
And you're listening to A Beer,
A crime?
A Tale.
Oh, yeah. It's a late night on a Saturday?
Yeah, it's
I don't know
midnight.
what day it is.
Well, now it's Sunday.
Technically, yeah.
Technically,
You're right. Huh.
Smells nice.
Yeah, we normally don't record this late, but...
But Brandon's working 35 hours, or 30 days straight. 35 days?
Yeah, well, we gotta find time to record and get stuff out to you, because it's been a while.
It has. Between your work and mine, because 'tis the season for our jobs.
Yeah.
I work retail, and you work
I
the
work
railroad.
on the choo-choos.
Choo-choo. And, yeah, we just... I wish I was a teacher. Not really, because I absolutely love my job.
Same.
So I would never trade it for teaching.
No.
I mean, I'm a terrible teacher in general, so.
No, I could see that. You're dyslexic. You're
ADD.
You got a bunch of things wrong with you.
Okay, so I'm actually training a new person for our job.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. And I forget constantly that he's new to the role. So I'll just send him off to go do something. And he's just like, I don't understand. And I'm like,
oh my God.
I'm like, crap.
You're one of them.
I don't mean to. And then I'm like, oh, shoot. I apologize right away. But it's just because I forget. And so then I'll walk him through it and do the whole process. But yeah,
throw them to the wolves.
I am. I throw people to wolves all the time, and I don't mean to. So.
Wow.
Well, it is what it is. How was your Thanksgiving?
Pretty good. So for the railroad, they give us turkeys.
Like live ones?
Yeah.
No way.
No.
Oh my God,
they
I would have taken
you frozen turkeys.
Oh, I would have liked a live one. I would have brought it home to my chickens.
So my dad works on the railroad as well, and so we got 2 turkeys.
Whose turkey was bigger? I just want to know.
I don't know.
Well, I
never felt his turkey.
Got it.
Anyways, we cooked 2 turkeys and chicken and noodles and all this stuff. There's a lot.
Wait, you had chicken and noodles with
Always.
Why? That doesn't make any sense.
Always. That's what the Pilgrims ate.
Chicken and noodles.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Look it up.
Well, my mom decided to cook a turkey, a ham, and a duck. Not turducken, where
I was about to say.
She decided to not have the chicken and have the ham instead. So I don't know why, but if you didn't know, duck is very greasy. It's a greasy little bird. And she forgot that it's so greasy and didn't put it in a super deep dish. And so the grease leaked over onto the oven.
That caught fire?
No, it didn't. But the problem was that she didn't realize it. So the whole bottom of the house filled up with smoke. Well, I have asthma. So
what are you thankful for? My inhaler?
So I had to go out onto the porch. And every time I started, I was like, okay, it's been 30 minutes of me sitting on the porch. I bet it's okay. So I'd get to the door and immediately be hit with all this smell of grease and burntness. And I couldn't go back in. And finally my daughter is like, are you going to have to eat out here on the porch? I can't go in the house.
So it's weird because I don't have asthma.
Mm-hmm.
But what my parents has always cooked in their oven, chicken or something, bake something.
Yeah.
Just the not the smoke, but no, I mean it's a mixture of smoke and some other stuff. But I literally can't breathe. I have to go in the other room. It's weird.
I don't know.
But
Maybe they're secretly trying to kill you. How much are you worth to them?
Nothing.
Are you sure? Because I have
shit.
insurance policies on all my kids. It's not that much. It's literally if they were to pass away, I could bury them. But
Well, they could get something out of it if they don't bury me.
what are they going to do? Throw you in a cardboard box out back?
I don't know. Float me down the river. Something. But, oh my God. So I got this crazy story that I've been waiting 3 weeks to tell you because we haven't recorded in 3 weeks.
I know.
So I was like, hey, I just got off of work. I'm like, I'm going to go grab some alcohol, right?
Makes sense.
So it's like 11 something. All the liquor stores are pretty much closed. So I go to the gas station.
Thank you, COVID, for ruining everything for us on that.
I know.
Yeah.
I go to the gas station and I pick out some alcohol, bring it up to the counter. They're like, oh, sorry, we don't serve alcohol past 11 o'clock. I'm like, cool.
What?
I said, all right. So I put it back. I Googled liquor stores. There was one nearby, right?
Okay.
So I go to it. And worst experience I've ever... I was dumbfounded.
Okay.
I walk in, see the bottle of bourbon I always get. Say, hey, can I get a bottle of that? And they don't speak clear English. It's broken English.
Okay.
And basically what he was saying is he had alcohol on an end cap. He said, if you're going to buy that, you have to buy this.
Why?
With it. I said, no, I want that bottle. He goes, yeah, if you want that bottle, you buy this bottle. I said, I don't want that bottle. I want that bottle. He goes, sorry, I can't make the sale then.
What?
I said, fuck you. And I walked out. I went home alcoholist.
That is the weirdest. I mean,
I was like, what?
I've never heard of anything like that
I know.
before.
That's why I was like, something's up.
Well, maybe that was the universe saying, don't drink today.
And I didn't.
Well, that's
I went
good.
home and went to bed. And like, maybe he knew it was like the only liquor store open.
Mm-hmm.
He was the only one. So he could probably pass off a couple bottles on some people.
What the hell were the bottles? It was probably something terrible.
It was something random. I've never heard of it before.
Oh.
But it was a bottle of bourbon.
Maybe it's
like,
bourbon
no.
he made. So he was like, I gotta convince everybody in this
if he
town
made
to.
it, I don't want it.
Oh, was he like? I don't want to know. Sometimes some people don't like to shower. That's all I'm saying. And
He just mixed it with his fingers.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Anyways.
Yeah, we don't want to go down that road.
So I got a question for you. We're doing a serial killer today.
No.
Disappearance?
No. We are doing a Thanksgiving story that I had planned on Thanksgiving. And then
It's like a week after, 2 weeks.
hey, you know what? It's Thanksgiving for somebody out there.
No,
yes, it
it's
is.
not.
Wait, when's Canada's? I want to say theirs is in December. I'm
No.
probably. Oh no, I'm looking this up.
No.
I could have swore Canada has theirs.
Probably not.
No,
that does not
Canada's-
sound right.
Yes, no, I know Canada's is later in the, like it's after us, and so I'm gonna say
Maybe the same month. Like the
no.
30th.
All right, I'm gonna look up. Everyone, if
This is.
I know we have some listeners from Canada, and they're probably yelling right now, like our Thanksgiving is in
the
July. Oh, okay. Well, theirs is over. Theirs was October 9th.
So it was before ours.
So, yeah. But
So we're both fighting for nothing.
I know. But you know what? Happy Thanksgiving, Canada.
Yeah. This episode's for you.
I know. And you know what? I am thankful that they're our neighbors. They're peaceful, quiet. They don't bother anybody.
Yeah.
They're just minding their own business up there. So there you go. I'm thankful for Canada. But
Thankful for Canada.
this is the story of Omaima Nelson.
Omaima?
Omaima.
Oh. Omaima.
Yes, Omaima. Omaima. But, okay, so just for anyone who can't see us, because, you know, Todd's my husband. Brandon is putting this on YouTube.
Yes.
So I did my best to technically not write a script, so I'm not.
What?
I know. So this way,
This
the
is a
people that are
twist.
watching it don't have to have this computer blocking me.
I mean, you do a good job with
Yeah.
with how you deliver. Honestly, that's what stands you apart from anybody else is your delivery and the way you actually tell the story. It doesn't matter if you have a computer in front of you, you talk the same.
Right. But we're going to try it without, and we're going to see how we do.
Okay.
So, let's get into this story.
So is it a killer? Is it,
yeah, there's going to be a murder.
Death?
Yes, there's going to be death.
Okay.
You're going to find out fairly quickly what's going on.
Well, good. No, I'm just kidding. That's not good.
I mean,
But we are a murder podcast. Serial
serial
podcast.
killer.
We don't
yeah.
murder people on the podcast.
That would be rough. So anyway, we're not Dexter. Like, just in our spare time, kill the bad guys. Okay, so this is all taking place in Costa Mesa, California, and it is December 1st, 1991. So this is like the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah. So you have this guy. His name is Jose. I want to say it's Escobar or something along those lines.
Escobar.
It might be something much nicer because I don't have it printed in front of me. But it's something along those lines. But we're going to keep calling him just Jose.
Escobar.
It could be Escobar.
Well, what's the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody?
Yeah, I do
Who's
kind
that?
of remember.
Is his name like Jose Escobar?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know which one we're talking about. We're going to say yes. It's the Sweet Life Zach and
Yes.
Cody guy.
Cool.
So, all right. So he is, sleeping. It's like early in the morning. He's partied it up because it's Thanksgiving. And
Oh yeah, belly full.
yeah, and it's Sunday. So now you've made it through the whole weekend, probably with your family and Friendsgiving. And he hears like a banging, like a frantic banging on his door. Okay. And so he peeks.
Bigfoot.
No.
It's not Bigfoot.
No. He looks out the window and he sees a red Corvette in his drive. And he's like, I don't know anybody with a red Corvette. And so he kind of ignores it and goes back to bed, which I thought was...
What?
I know. I thought that was weird too.
I'd take a fork out with me and
I would
charge.
check. I don't know if that's because
Charge them.
we live in the Midwest. So we're like, who's this? They must need help. In California, he's like, nah, I need my beauty sleep more.
Nah, it's probably some crackhead pissing in my driveway.
Right. So Jose gets up, he gets ready for the day, and about 2:00 he decides he's going to leave his house. So he opens up his front door and he's about to step out when this woman, like completely like frazzled looking woman, like blocks his path. Okay. And she's calling him. She's like, Jose, Jose. So she obviously knows him. And so he looks at her a little bit more closely and realizes this is his ex-girlfriend.
Oh?
But she looked a wreck. So his ex-girlfriend was Omaima Aree. That was her maiden name.
Omaima Aree.
Yeah. Now, she did. She looked like a wreck. She kind of had some bruises and scratches on her face, on her chest. She, like, had very dark circles, like she hadn't slept. He could tell she'd been crying. Like, she looked the wreck.
Yeah.
And she keeps begging him that she needs help. And so he looks up, and in the driveway is the red Corvette. So he's like...
Did she drive that? Is somebody
Right.
driving that and
So-
she got away? What's
Right.
going
So he's
on?
like, okay, so obviously the red Corvette must belong to her. So he brings her in the house. He sets her down, and he's like, okay, what's going on? So Omaima then begins to tell him just basically a flat out crazy story. So, and this is just like, when I say ex-girlfriend, from what I understand from all the like documentaries and nonsense I watched or listened to, they basically ran with like the same party group.
Oh.
And so she was just kind of like a good time kind of girlfriend, and it sounded like it ended amicably. Like it wasn't anything like intense kind of situation. So here she is. She's now crying on his couch, and she starts telling this story. And she explains to him how on Thanksgiving, her husband started to abuse her. He would tie her up and sexually assault her and beat her up. And this torture went on for days.
Jesus.
Finally, in like an act of desperation, she's able to like escape from the binds and grabs the lamp on the nightstand, smacks him in the head, knocks him out, and she knows that killed him. So she's now telling Jose that she accidentally killed her husband while trying to escape his abuse, basically.
Interesting.
Yes. So now she's asking him for help because she wants,
him to dispose of the body.
Basically, yes.
What?
So,
hey, I'm gonna kill my husband. Go to my ex and be like, "Hey, can you help me dispose of his body?" That's crazy.
But don't worry, I've already dismembered him. That's what she tells him. Like, don't panic. I've already dismembered him. And then she tells him, what I do need you to do, though, is remove his teeth. And don't worry, there's $75,000 in cash in his safe and 2 motorcycles in the garage, and they're all yours if you help me.
Interesting.
Right. So Jose is just like, sure, Omaima, I am definitely going to help you. You stay right here. I am going to go get a truck. Okay. And she's probably like, oh, thank you so much. And he walks out the door. Sorry.
Does he call the cops?
Remember, this is 1991, so there's no some people have cell phones, but most don't.
Fucking bat symbol in the sky. Just shine away.
He does tell her he has to go get a truck. So he does leave. Well, he leaves to go to the closest payphone, and he makes a phone call to the police. So Costa Mesa police show up, and there's this group that's kind of inside talking to Omaima, and then there's another group that's over by the red convertible. So they can tell she's upset, and they can tell that she's been crying. And so they ask her like, so where's your husband? And who's your husband? Those kind of questions. And she's like, well, my husband's Bill Nielsen, and he's in Florida. He's very much alive. He's just there on a business trip. She's like, I can't get a hold of him. I'd love for you guys to get a hold of him, but I don't know how to reach out to him because we've only been married for like a week or 2.
What? Something ain't adding up here.
Right. So the police that are out there with the red convertible notice there's a trash bag in the passenger seat. No. So they open it up.
No.
You don't even know what's inside. It could be a fluffy bunny.
A fucking head.
There was not a head. So there was not.
A hand.
There was not a hand.
A leg.
No. So they opened it up, and the officer that, had opened it immediately dropped it. Was like, what the fuck? And they had to call in the coroner. So let's jump over to who exactly is Omaima Aree Nelson.
Is that not her real name?
So she's actually Omaima Aree. She's from Egypt. So she actually grew up in the southern part of Egypt, and she was very, very poor. Her dad was very abusive to her mom, and at some point when she was little, they end up getting a divorce. Now, her mom, I don't know if it was with her mom or when her parents were still married, but when she was 7 years old, they did the sexual mutilation that they do to females, I think, in certain countries. Yeah. So they literally basically castrated a female.
Yeah.
Yep. And so that was probably one of her first childhood traumas. Besides, obviously, her dad beating her mom all the time, and then the divorce. So she had a lot just in the first 7 years of her life to deal with. So when her parents get divorced, her mom moves them to Cairo, and she moves them to a very I guess it's kind of like a famous area of Cairo, and it's very poor. It's kind of like slums. And if I remember right, I want to say there's I thought it said 3 million people living in this area, but they call it like Land of the Dead. But it's people, if you picture like I pictured it in my head like this, but I don't know if this is really how it is. But all the really cool cemeteries down in New Orleans. Imagine them just spread out everywhere and houses built up in between all the mausoleums and tombstones. Mausoleums.
That's a drink for anybody drinking to the episode.
I said mausoleum, right? Didn't I?
I don't know. It sounded like you didn't.
Oh, maybe. But I'll go with it. Drink.
Yeah, you go ahead and drink your Pepsi. What did you get?
It's dragon fruit tea. So I have dragon fruit tea and then peach tea.
From Taco Bell?
Yeah,
you don't get anything other than Baja Blast.
No, I don't like pop very much. It's fine. So now she's living amongst tombstones, okay? So...
Yeah.
So she was very smart. She actually did very well in school. I know she was like towards the top of her class, and she really wanted to get out of the slums. And there was various accounts I read. Some made it sound like she was sexually assaulted by a family member. Others, it sounded like maybe potentially her mom like abused her. I don't know. But still, even though they had left her dad, she was still struggling overall. Now, when she was 18, she got pretty lucky and met an American oil worker who was older than her.
Dang.
So this guy was from Texas, and he basically came in and like swept her off her feet. And her family, from what I understand, really liked him. Well, liked her probably too. I don't know. But the thing was, like customary, they thought, well, they're in a relationship. She's probably lost her virginity to him, or she has. So now they have to get married. So I don't know why or how, but the American oil worker was like, yeah, I'll go along with this plan. So
what?
Yes. I mean, I'm assuming that he probably was aware of like how difficult everything had been for her. So he probably was like feeling like he was a white knight coming in and saving the day, I'm assuming. And so he was fine with marrying her. I'm just guessing.
All right. It's a little self-centered, but
whatever. I'm just giving a theory into why he would very quickly marry her on what her parents or family members are saying. Like, you stole her virginity. Now you must marry her. That kind of thing. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
You just got it. I'm here.
I've prepared.
So anyways.
I got a ring pop in my pocket. I've been waiting for this moment my entire life. It's got lint and shit on it.
Is it watermelon? Because those are good.
That's the only one you can propose to with?
I think the watermelon one's probably the best one for ring pops, in my opinion.
I don't remember any other flavor.
I don't either. I think it's because maybe they only made it in watermelon. Comment below if there's any other flavors. Maybe there was a grape. I think there was a grape. I had that one time, I think. Because I don't like grape, and someone handed it to me, and I think I ate it on accident. What are you looking for?
My phone.
Oh, okay.
To look this up.
Oh, got it. That makes sense. So anyways, they get married, and they end up moving to the United States, to Texas. So they were together a pretty short time. From what I understand, about 6 months. And they end up getting a divorce. Now, Omaima is living in the U.S. She's a teenager because she's somewhere between 18 and 19. And she's on her own. And she doesn't speak really great English. So she kind of had to learn how to survive out here in America, especially in Texas.
Yeah.
And one of the things she learned very quickly was sex sells in the U.S. Pretty good.
Yeah.
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 What'd you find out about ring pops?
So ring pops, there's watermelon, blue raspberry, strawberry, berry blast, and cherry.
Oh.
I'm sure there's a lot more.
I remember the blue raspberry, but I never had that one. Watermelon was best.
I do remember the berry blast.
Oh, okay.
I remember 2 different colors.
Oh, the red and blue.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, that one was good.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Anyways.
they got a divorce. He stole her ring pop. It's over. So,
Oh, no.
so she finds out sex sells, and she kind of learned that she was really good at meeting older men and manipulating them into taking care of her.
I know somebody like this.
I do too.
Interesting.
Yes. And it doesn't sound like she was technically, I mean, she was basically looking for sugar daddies, but she kind of wanted it to be where they provided her a roof over her head while she lived with them for a while.
Oh, she lived with them for a while?
Yes. So it wasn't like a full on like sugar daddy type relationship
Like,
where
take me on vacation, pay
Right.
for my car.
no, like she was like, I'm going to live with you for a bit. And then when she got sick of them, she would tie them to the bed and like steal all their shit. So,
I mean, it's effective.
it is. And when I mean steal all their shit, usually like money, possibly like jewelry, things like that. Like it wasn't like.
I mean, she'd have to go by a fake name, right?
Nah. She
No?
literally went by Omaima Aree. So she did get arrested for obviously her. Now, what's interesting is these older men, like hardly any of them ever came forward and said anything.
Because they
Like-
were afraid. Or
Yeah. I think it was the fact that they were afraid and probably embarrassed. I mean, they probably were like, hey, check out my hot 19, 20-year-old girlfriend living with me. And then a month later, she stole their money, their TV.
That's true. I guess. That's
You know what I
true.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think they probably wanted to tell anybody afterwards. So, now in 1989, she got arrested for retail theft. And it was pretty intense from what I understand. So let me tell you, this has never happened to me or you. So we'll get into this story. So I don't know where she was at. Well, some retail business. And she gets stopped by 2 female security people. Now, this is back in the day when they could tackle.
Oh, no.
Yes. So they're trying to hold her down, and she fought. Like, she fought them, and she fart.
She farted?
No.
Oh,
She,
that's one strategy. That's a drink.
that's definitely a drink. She fought them off very hard. And when I mean fought, she bit the boob of one of them almost to the point that they said that enough that they tried to say that she bit it off, but it wasn't like either that or I don't think it was that intense. But I'm assuming like she left some good teeth print and probably drew some blood. So not only did her retail theft go from retail theft, she now had an assault charge on her.
Yeah.
So she eventually makes her way from Texas to the Costa Mesa, California area. Now, when she's there, she doesn't run around looking for sugar daddies. She actually tries to get some real life jobs.
What?
I know.
That's crazy.
She becomes a nanny for a little bit. She cleans houses, and she becomes a part-time model. So, I know. So she has multiple jobs, and obviously she had a relationship with someone, I think, semi-close to her age, Jose, for a little while, and then they break up. And in October of 1991, she ends up going to this bar. And when she goes to this bar, across the room, she locks eyes with Bill Nielsen. Now, Bill is a 56-year-old, larger-than-life Texan. That's how he's described.
Larger than life.
And I actually agree with this. Like, when I hear about him, I can picture him and everything. So he has,
Really?
he has a red Corvette.
He rides bulls.
We're not there yet, but we're getting there. He has red cowboy boots, the big ass buckle, cowboy hat. He probably runs around going, "Hello, darling."
Hello, darling.
The whole thing. And he's also a pilot and flies planes.
Okay.
When they meet and lock eyes across the bar, it's like love at first sight, even though he's like 33 years older than her. He also has 5 grown children and 17 grandchildren when they meet.
Damn, man, what, 50s?
56.
Dang.
Yeah. I don't know what to say to that. That's just a
They
lot.
go big in Texas.
Basically.
Go big or go home.
So Bill, they meet, and it's this love at first sight situation. But Bill also has an interesting past. So he was a pilot. And somehow, I know he flew from, Texas to the South America area quite often. And somehow he gets involved with the CIA as either an informant or working for them.
That's badass.
I know. It kind of is.
Adds to his story.
Until he starts smuggling marijuana into the U.S.
It's still badass.
It's still badass. I know. So he ends up actually getting caught. And he had to serve 4 years in federal prison for, flying marijuana into the U.S.
Right.
And he had recently been released. And when they meet, he tells Omaima all about this cattle ranch that he still has in Texas and how he's still a pilot. Even though he has this pretty basic apartment in Costa Mesa. And so from what I understand, he really does have these things, but whatever. So this relationship seems to be everything both of them really want. She wants a live-in sugar daddy, and he wants arm candy. So, I mean, it works out great. So, the friends of Bill basically describe them as 2 lovesick teenagers that, ran around giggling like fools the whole time. And they probably...
hey.
I'm not going to lie. If
Kudos to them, I
guess. But I would probably be annoyed and throw water at them once in a while. Just saying. So they end up on this whirlwind romance. And within a couple of weeks, Bill's like, hey, I really want to take you to Texas and Arkansas to meet all my family. And she's like, sure, I would love to travel half the United States with you. So they get in his little red Corvette and they make their way to Texas. And along that trip, he decides he's going to propose to her.
Oh, no.
She completely accepts. Now, what's
duh.
Now, what's I find interesting is I read a gazillion news articles, and some of them said he was still technically married to his first wife or second wife. But so this engagement was just kind of dumb because he couldn't be proposed to her. But others said that he proposed to her 2 days in to their relationship.
Dang.
And other articles said it was what the storyline I'm telling you. So.
Because it feels like months.
Yeah, no. It's 2 weeks right now. So they're on their way. They get to Texas and Arkansas and start meeting his family. Well, the kids, of course, are like, Dad, we're older than her. What are you thinking?
Yeah, that would be so weird.
It would. If my stepmom was 10 years younger than me, I would feel like it's a little awkward. Just saying.
Yeah. Very awkward.
Yeah. But, I mean, to each their own, I guess. But, so the kids obviously thought she was a gold digger, and they were concerned for their dad. And they didn't really warm up to her at first. But then the whole family went horseback riding, and this horse, bucks Omaima, off of it. And she lands, super hard. I don't know, on the head or the side or wherever she lands. Enough that the family was like, you need to go to the hospital. And she's like, oh, no, just give me some aspirin and some shots of vodka and let's go.
And they were like, she's the one.
And they were like, she's a bad bitch. Look at how tough she is. She's just all
right, you can date my
basically
grandfather now.
That's exactly what they did. They were like, wow, she handled that well. She can handle Dad then. So she obviously gets back on the horse, and then they all drive off. Her Omaima and Bill drive off in the Corvette back towards California. However, they make a pit stop in Phoenix and find a justice of the peace and get married at a courthouse. So by the time they get back, it's now Thanksgiving of 1991, and Bill calls up his stepdaughter and he's like, we have turkey, we have all the fixings, come on over. And she's like, no, I already made plans. I'm real sorry, but I'll come by later in the week. And he said, that's great. And she was the last family member to ever hear from him again.
Dang. You know how, you know how she must have felt?
I know. To know that, like, it would always be in the back of my mind, like, if I had gone, would it have prevented anything? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. That would be, ooh. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a mind fuck.
So let's jump back to Jose's house.
All right.
So now we're back at Jose's, and they open up the bag, and they've called the coroner, and the coroner looks at it, and it's like, oh, yeah, you see those black spots? That's from smoking. That's a lung. So that's enough for the police to bring Omaima in for questioning.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got an organ in a trash bag in her vehicle. Yeah.
No, Bill's vehicle.
Bill's vehicle that's not there. Yeah.
I know.
You're coming with me.
Exactly. So the detective tries to sit Omaima down in, their interrogation room, but she won't sit down. Okay. All she wants to do is walk around and pace. So the interrogation literally lasts 3 to 4 hours.
Dang.
And she spends the entire time walking around, and like she almost seemed like she was like in and out of reality. Like she was constantly referring to herself as a third person, like Omaima needs water, or like
That's
stuff like that.
So weird to me. I don't get it.
I don't either. I mean, I might yell
unless
at
it's like a mind game.
Maybe.
Like I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no clue.
She also kind of acted like she was having hallucinations. They didn't go into it. They said it was very odd. They wanted to know where Bill was. She repeatedly said he was not dead, that he was in Florida. He was on a business trip, all this stuff. And so they said, why don't you tell us what happened on Thanksgiving? So she does give them basically the story about how he abused her. And they could tell that she had scratches on her face and her hands and her, legs. And that she had been sexually assaulted. And she even had a story for the fact that there was organs in a bag in the car.
All right. I'm listening.
I know. So they basically are like, okay, Omaima, tell me about this bag of organs. And she's like, you don't understand. My husband, Bill, is a very dangerous man. You only know about the fact that he ran marijuana, but he's also a murderer. And that is a man he killed and dismembered. And I'm just apparently driving it around.
And she's okay with it being in the back seat while she's driving.
Passenger seat.
Even worse.
I know. It's like the worst.
Like, hey.
How you doing?
Where you want to go?
But so like they're like, okay, we're not getting anywhere with her. So we are going to take her to the hospital, have a rape kit done on her and go from there. So while she's at the hospital having the rape kit and and all of her cuts and bruises inspected,
right.
The police decide to go to their apartment. So they knock on the door and nobody answers. So they had to, I heard multiple versions. They either kicked it in or crawled in through a window. So
I'll say kick it in.
I like the idea of kicking it in because it sounds more fun. So they kicked it in like all Rambo style.
Okay.
Got it. So the very first room they see is the living room, and it's very cluttered because I guess Bill was really into building computers. And so there was computer parts all over the place. They go down the hallway and they end up near the bedroom. Now there is a little bit of blood on the handle of the door. And when they open up the door, there is a small spot of blood. But when they look at the actual bed, it's a hot mess. So the what are they called? The bedposts
Yeah.
are broken off. So they're like, ooh, maybe there is something to her story about her being tied down, being raped, being sexually assaulted, breaking free and grabbing the lamp.
Right.
So they pull back the covers of the bed and it is completely soaked in blood. Like so saturated that the blood went through the mattress to the box spring.
Yeah, that's a body that's been just sitting there.
So now at this point, they're like, something's really, really off. Well, they then make their way to the kitchen. And in the kitchen and the hallway, they start finding more of these bags.
No.
And yes. But what's even more disturbing is on the oven in a frying pan with some turkey.
No.
And Bill's hands. They had been deep fried with turkey.
What seasoning did she use?
I don't know. Mrs. Dash's.
Okay.
Poor Bill. So then they start opening up trash bags. One bag had his legs from about the knee down. Other bags had more organs. They open
That's
up
so
the
funny.
freezer, and literally this is how the detective described it. Next to the hot dogs and peas was Bill's head. So his head looked like she either deep fried it or boiled it.
What? What?
Yes.
She went from being a sugar daddy,
Sugar baby.
sugar baby.
She's a sugar baby. To a murderer.
No.
Yeah.
To a cannibal.
We're not there yet. You're jumping to conclusions.
I could only assume you're not going to deep fry a chicken not to eat it.
Well, I mean, that's true. But we'll get there. I promise.
Okay.
So also inside these bags is a bloody lamp, a clothes iron that's completely matted in blood and hair. And at this point, they're like, we need some sort of timeline. So they do go talk to the neighbor downstairs. Now, the neighbor downstairs said that for the entire weekend, all they could hear was the garbage disposal going and going and going until Sunday morning when it finally broke.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So they call in probably the same coroner who had to identify the lungs and was like, we need you to find as many pieces of Bill as you possibly can. So the other detectives go and pick up Omaima from the hospital, bring her back to the police station, and they're like, so we found body parts all over your apartment. Like,
He's not in Florida, bitch.
right. Let's talk about this. And so she still at this point is denying stuff. So she's like, no, it's not Bill, blah, blah, blah. So they end up getting the results back from her rape kit and they confront Omaima with it. They're like, so the results came in and you have not been sexually assaulted either through your vagina or anally. The bruising and cuts you've received are not from a sexual assault. They were like superficial wounds from like if you dropped like a knife or something. So she finally says, okay, I have a confession. She then starts telling them a lot of different stories.
Oh, God. Changes every time, huh?
Pretty much. So the first story is how she knows she killed Bill because the demons told her to.
Oh, God. This shit again.
Basically, yes. And she explains how she ended up taking a nap, going to bed, and waking up to find all of Bill's body parts in trash bags. And she's well aware of the fact that she knows she did it. She just doesn't know how she did it.
But the neighbors heard the disposal going for 2 days straight. Like,
correct.
Yeah, she took a long-ass nap.
The longest nap
she
ever.
She took some NyQuil. But, bro, she was out.
And the demon, did it. So then she continues this story, and she tells them all about how 2 women covered in blood came over and told her she had to kill Bill. The police are not buying this crap.
Hell no. Giving them 3 different stories.
Oh, we're not even done with all of her stories.
Oh,
we're going to keep going eventually, but so they ended up telling her what exactly happened. Like, give us a little bit more info. And she, basically she just tells them, I need help. I need a psychiatrist. And that pretty much ends the whole interview.
Yeah.
So she's arrested and charged with first-degree murder and sent to a women's prison in Orange County, where she finally gets to see a psychiatrist. In the meantime, you have the prosecution and the police, and everybody's still investigating this to try to piece it all together. And the coroner was able to roughly get together enough parts of Bill to have him, buried with the family. However, based off of his driver's license and everything, they were still missing anywhere between 80 and 100 pounds of him.
Damn, that's a lot.
The other thing that the coroner found completely fascinating was that these were very precise cuts, like she's dismembered something before. Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So while they were, investigating this, and it becomes a huge story, obviously.
Yeah.
Somebody comes forward, a former sugar daddy named Robert Hansen. And he tells them a story about how he basically, took care of her. They were living together, and how she came to him and said, I'm going to leave you, and I want basically all your money, kind of thing. And he's like, or something like that. Or maybe she wanted.
That's just straightforward. She knows what she wants.
I know. Or maybe she said that she wanted to go shopping. I don't remember this part of that part real detailed, but I do remember what happens next clearly. Basically, he challenges her and is like, what are you going to do for me if I give you my credit card or whatever? So she basically implies that he's going to get sex. So she ties him up, and then she whips out a gun and holds him at gunpoint and is like, give me everything. Tell me where everything is, or I'm going to shoot you. Well, she didn't tie him down good enough, and he was able to basically break free and grab the gun. And she ended up leaving, obviously, with nothing.
Yeah.
But when he had heard the story about Bill, he came forward and was like, hey, this isn't the first time that she's tied somebody down and, threatened their life. And he's like, this is what happened to me. So after hearing his story, they go back and look at his, hands and feet, because they still had those pieces. And sure enough, tied both at his ankles and feet were bruising from where he had been tied down.
Damn.
So while they're, still piecing all this together, Omaima is now talking to psychiatrists in prison. I know she did talk to one female psychiatrist who described her as being quiet and kind of passive and shy and all these stupid nonsensical words, and how she really was a victim of domestic violence and, having sexual assaults as a child and all this stuff. However, another psychiatrist that she talked to, I believe, was a man. And this one I found way more interesting. She tells him a lot more of the story. And she describes about how when she finally did dismember him, Bill, she decided that she was going to cook up his ribs. And when she did that, she put on her red high heels, her red hat, painted her lips red, covered the ribs with barbecue sauce, and stuck them in the oven. She then sat down and feasted on them and said that they were super sweet and delicious, just the way she liked them. So that's how she handled both psychiatrists.
What?
Yeah.
It's crazy because, like, she told the dude everything,
Yeah.
but not the female.
Right.
Which, to me, that's ass backwards.
I know. And I don't know how much of it was stories for either one of them. I mean, she could have been trying to make herself look really tough to the man. You know, maybe if she really was sexually assaulted, maybe she wanted to put on this tough girl, persona so he didn't look at her as weakling.
Maybe.
I mean, if you want to look at it that way, I don't know. It's interesting.
Damn.
So the case obviously goes to court. And they present all of this. And the defense team comes up with some interesting strategies. So what basically the prosecution said was that Omaima had tied up Bill and then hit him in the head with a lamp. And then she found the iron, the clothes iron, and then started beating him in the head with that because he had over 25 head wounds from blunt force trauma. And then they believe that she grabbed a pair of scissors and started stabbing him in the chest. Once he was dead, she then started dismantling him. And then more than likely started putting pieces down the garbage disposal and potentially ate him. Now, this is a huge deal because this is also around the same time that Jeffrey Dahmer was being tried. So you have Jeffrey Dahmer in the Midwest and Omaima Nelson in California.
Yeah.
So when it's time for Omaima to testify, they allow her to. And she tells them the story of how, here's story number 6. I have no idea.
Yeah.
We're on to. She tells the jury about how she is in communication with Egyptian gods.
I'll do it.
They speak through her. And they basically told her that if she needed to basically get rid of Bill, she needed to dismember him because otherwise she would end up meeting him in her afterlife, where basically I guess he would continue to traumatize her. So of course she had to dismember him the way she did and kill him the way she did in order to never see him again in the afterlife.
The problem is she had no problem doing that.
I kind of agree with you. She
was okay with doing that.
She was fine with it. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever you say.
I know. So the jury took an entire week to deliberate this case.
Because of the Egyptian gods.
I think the reason why is because first degree, you have to show premeditation and all that kind of stuff, where second degree, it's not premeditated.
Yeah.
And she was found not guilty of first degree, but she was found guilty of second.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the jury did, I think, agree that probably something triggered her that night or that day on Thanksgiving, and whatever it may have been, it was enough to cause her to kill Bill. So, anyway.
To me, they're both the same.
Right.
First and second degree.
Right.
You killed somebody.
Yes. So
Not out of defense.
Right. So she was sentenced to 15 years.
That's it.
To life in prison. Okay. 15 years to life. So she doesn't change at all when she's in prison. Let me tell you.
God.
Somehow she managed to meet a 70-year-old man and marry him while in prison. He ends up leaving her all his money.
When she's doing 15-day life.
Right. So in 2006, she had one of her paroles and it was denied. In 2011, it was the same thing. She had one of her parole hearings and it was also denied. At this point, she's kind of annoyed because it's getting denied again. And the judge flat out told her, you haven't changed. You haven't taken any courses while you were here. you've been considered a danger to the people in the prison. Like, they said that she she literally did nothing to make herself better in prison, I guess is the best way to put it. So if you're going to, here's advice for everybody that might be listening in prison.
Read a book or two.
Read a book. Go get an education. Take rehab. She said, the judge said, you haven't taken a single rehab class. You haven't taken any anger management classes. You haven't learned any education courses.
And they got jobs and shit that you can do.
Yeah, I don't think she even did any jobs. So then Omaima was like, fine, bitch, I'll do that. And she did. So she spent like the next, let's see, this was 2011. So I think she spent like the next 5 or 8 years doing nothing but taking classes and being she eventually was put in the good behavior unit because she was like, I guess not. And she doesn't get a chance for parole again until 2026. Well, now she has a petition going saying, look at all these courses I've done and look at all the good things I'm doing. And my mom's sick in Egypt and I just want to go back to Egypt. So sign this petition and let me be free. So if you really think this woman needs to be out, go sign the petition.
No, we're not.
But
we don't do that.
No. But you would be surprised, because I actually did look at this petition. You would be surprised like how many people are like, she's served her time, let her go see her mom. I'm like, she dismembered and potentially ate her husband, and you guys want her just hanging out with her mother?
Yeah, no.
And she likes to manipulate older men to give her everything. Like, I don't think she's learned anything in prison. I'm just going to be my guess.
Yeah. No, she needs to stay there.
Yeah. But that's the story of Omaima Nelson.
Damn.
And I did all that without a script. Thank you.
That was damn good.
Thanks.
Wow.
I know. That was a lot.
That was crazy.
It's a roller coaster. That's why I was like, I have to tell this story. Like, I can't believe I found it. Like, I literally stumbled on. Well, what was it? I've pretty much gone through most of the Discovery Plus documentaries. So now I had to move on to Peacock. And it was on an episode of Snapped. And I only picked it because it was season 14, which my birthday is the 14th. So I was like, hey, it's season 14. I'm going to pick episode 1. And this was it. I was like, what the hell is this?
Dang.
Yep. So that was my source. Snapped from season 14, episode 1.
So if you want to go watch that, watch that.
Yeah. It won't be as exciting as my...
Probably not.
Although the detectives cracked me up on there because they were all like... And then she cooked him up with the fixins. And it's like, what? It's like, whatever works, I guess. God. But yeah. So.
If you enjoyed this episode, go check it out on Facebook or YouTube. You
can check it on Facebook too, I guess. I have no idea.
It'll be posted there.
It'll be posted somewhere.
Instagram, all that good stuff.
All the good things.
But you can check it out at Beer Crime and Tail.
Yeah. And if you want to support us, go check out our Patreon, because if you enjoyed this episode, the next episode I'm telling Brandon on there is all about crimes that have happened with Pokemon Go. Because he told me nobody plays anymore. So I'm going to prove him wrong.
This ought to be interesting.
Oh, it will.
Because
I'm so excited.
I was in that game and I understand like where and what certain Pokemon situations you can be in. Because like we would go there was a group Discord.
Yes.
Just basically a main page where people can be like, hey, come to this spot.
Yeah, and we can all raid.
Yeah. And so we would go, but we would sit in the car. We would never get out and talk to somebody. Because
our friend was always threatening to beat up all the Pokemon Go people.
Yeah. Bunch of nerds. But he was there playing Pokemon Go too. It's like,
I know. And he had like 2 phones like going at it. And he was like, look at all those stupid nerds over there. And it's like, what are you doing? You have 2 phones.
Yeah, he's... Anyways, I could see the different types of situations where you can be in. where that could happen.
Yeah. So
I
I'm
get
very
that.
excited for you to learn about Pokemon Go crimes.
Because I have walked to different Pokemon stuff and alone in the dark. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
I'll drive to a park and sit there and not die.
Not like a cemetery or anything.
No, I'll pass. Because I actually believe in ghosts, unlike you. So I don't feel like having like Auntie Grandma's hand reach up and grab me while I'm trying to play Pokemon Go.
Bitch, I'm trying to catch a Pikachu.
I know. Like, this is not how I want to play. So.
All right, so if you want to listen to that episode, check out our Patreon and support us there. I'm pretty sure there is actually a free option on there. Unfortunately, if you want to actually listen to these episodes, they're confidential. So there's a $3 option and a $5
option. Yes.
So, yeah, go ahead and check that out. But if you enjoyed this, we will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Gobble, gobble. And stay ghouly.
Stay googly.